Swindling or estafa. Estafa is the legal term for the criminal offense of swindling. It is when someone represents themselves as someone else or someone who says they can do things they cannot, with such fraud resulting in the victim to suffer damages. In other terms, swindling or estafa is also called as pretender or play pretend, or acting like someone which they are truly not. It's a scheme of the swindlers to deceive someone, to deprive them intentionally for their personal gain. And if we talk about swindling, this is purely intentional or done on purpose. Now, when we talk about estafa, it involves money or any other possessions. If you will be a victim of a fraud or scam, you will also suffer the consequence. Ikaw na nga na biktima, ikaw pa dyan mag-suffer sa damages. Damages may refer to the loss of money, personal property, or valuables as a result of the deceit. This is very familiar to us. So, for example, sa una, when investment scam, katong mga double your money scam blow up, there are a lot of people who believes in that kind of double your money fraud. It's like your money will blow up kuno. For example, you have 1 million. It would increase by 100% in just 45 days. So, what happened to your 1 million? So, for the mahimo na siyang 2 million. So, kinsa may dili mo believe ana, diba? So, daghan jud kayo ang naamong ana. Personal property. For instance, you have animals, you raise animals such as cow, goat, or pig. So, probably, you would sell them. And of course, its payment, you will put it on the union or the investment scam nga imong napilan. Note that estafa is different from theft. So, with theft, the offender has taken material possession of a property. So, gikuha ra lahos ang butang or the money, gigrab ra. When in estafa, the offender has taken both duha material and juridical possession of a property. And not only that, but also by means of contract of agreement. So, mura siyang mahug like legal kunuhay kay of course ni sugot man ka, ni perma man ka sa agreement or sa kontrata. Now, how is estafa committed? In Article 315 of the Revised Penal Code states that estafa may be committed through 1, unfaithfulness or abuse of confidence. It's like taking advantage of trust to someone or like abusing the trust. And by how? Of course, by not fulfilling his or her words, broken promises, or wala nitupad sa usapan. Letter A, we have altering the quality, quantity, and substance of the subject matter in a contract. So, alter na yung mga changes sa agreement nga kanang imo siyang na pirmahan. At first hand, it's like wala ra kay money nga involved. So, okay ra, ma-member ka ani, wala kay money nga involved. So, perma lang ani, ma-member na ka. It is also called as a contract fraud. It occurs when an individual makes a false statement in order to have someone else agree to sign to a contract. So, this is also intentional to deceive or trick people to sign the agreement. Letter B, we have misappropriating or converting someone else's money, goods, or any other personal property or denying this from them. Dishonesty or unfairly taking of someone's money, denying this from them. So, yes, katong investment scam for example. Yes, nihatag kag kwarta, dito nimo nagkuan kag pondo kay lagi mo dako siya. Pero when time na nga para imo siyang invest imong kwarta, na kuno ni double, Pero ang katong siyang ng scam nimo is cannot be reached na igtawag, gi-block na ka sa GC. Well, mo na siya kanang gi-scam na ka. Gikuha na gitangay na ang imong kwarta. Nailahan na to. So thank you. Letter C, taking advantage of a signature in blank. Now, if you're into scam, then katong facilitator nimo would say like, "Ma'am, can we at least have your e-signature for future reference?" Kung ano siya, ang scenario niya siya online kunuhay. So, in case we cannot reach you out of the time, ma'am, if you have important things that needs your signature, at least we can still have an attachment to your signature, ma'am, sa e-signature. So, magpasend lang ko din mo, ma'am, sa imong signature, ha. So, it's a very major red flag kanang magmusayin lang kagkalit sa mga blanco nga mga dokumento kay na scam na kaana. Number 2, deceit or fraudulent acts. Deceit, gideceive na ka, nagi-attic na ka, no? It especially requires the perpetrator to make a factual representation to make it sound like it's legitimate and credible, when in fact, obviously, it's illegal or false pretense just to intentionally let the other person or their victim to rely or believes in it. First, letter A, we have using a fictitious identity to deceive another. Yes, this is very common. False identity fraud. Creating fake identity to commit this offense. Acting like a college degree holder, a manager from a particular company, and giving a lot of fake credentials just to, deceive their victim, to make them believe. Letter B, altering quality, fineness, or weight of anything pertaining to art or his business. Now, changing the quality kunuhay the swindlers or the perpetrator who owns that business pretends to have a lot of achievements in his business. Like, daghan ako na kay siya napadato and everything just to make his illegal business to boom, to make you believe. And letter C, issuing unfunded or post-dated checks. Bouncing checks. Ika nga, very familiar. Now, if someone sends you a check and there is no fund on that account, or before you withdraw it, gi-close na nila ang ilang account. Kunuhay. So, issuing a check in payment of an obligation, pero wala na. Ni talbog. Kay scam na ka. And letter D, availing of services from hotels, restaurants, inns, and etc. without paying them. Like, you are using the accommodations of a certain hotel or restaurants, ni kaon ka, pero intentionally imo rang gibiyaan ang imuhang paggamit nimo sa katong lugar. You use their services, but you do not pay. Gitakasan nimo. So, estafa na siya. Number 3, by fraudulent means. So, pagpanglimbo nga paagi. Letter A, inducing another through deceit to sign any document. Persuading or nangumbinser ka, convincing people to believe in them by, deceiving to sign any contract. Letter B, resorting to fraudulent practice to ensure success in a gambling game. For example, in a casino, the swindler will go to casino just to cheat. For example, if I will do this, I will do this because mahimon siyang alas, kumuwaton ka na. So, nag-cheat ka. Letter C, removing, concealing, or destroying in a whole or in a part of any court record, office files, documents, or any other papers. So, mahimo na nila kay, they're also advanced. Hacking, or like, if you submit your personal records to them, pwede na nilang mapunan ibanan ang imong mga records nga ikaw mahimong alanganin. What is the penalty for estafa? So, the penalty for estafa is basically dependent on the value of the damage or prejudice caused by the perpetrator sa gibugaton sa iyahang sala or nabuhat nga damage sa pagpanglimbong. So, in RA 10951, increase the amount of fraud which is the basis of the penalty. And the fine imposed for the crime of estafa under Article 315 of the Revised Penal Code. So under this law, for acts committed which constitute estafa, penalty depends on the amount involved and ranges from imprisonment of 1 month to 1 day to 20 years. So if the amount of the fraud does not exceed 40,000 pesos, the penalty of arresto mayor in its medium and maximum period shall be imposed by 2 months and 1 day to 6 months. Muna siya ang pinakagamay. And then ang pinakadako, if the amount of fraud exceeds 8,880,000 pesos, the penalty shall be reclusion perpetua or ang pagka-priso sa for like 30 years or can be also extended by 40 years. So daghan kini siya guys nga penalty. Taas kayo siya from 40,000 to 400,000 up to kani 800 million. So ako na lang siyang gikuan nga pinakagamay nga penalty nga pinakagamay nila nga na scam hangtod sa pinakadako. So mo ni siya. So the crime of other deceits under Article 318. So here it states that the penalty of arresto mayor for 1 month and 1 day to 6 months and a fine or penalty of not less than dili muubos sa amount of the damage caused and not more than twice dili mo doble sa amount nga imposed upon of any person who shall defraud or damage another by any other deceit that was not mentioned under Article 315 to 317. Over any person who for profit or gain shall interpret dreams, make forecasts, tell fortunes, or take advantage of the credulity of the public in any other similar manner shall suffer the penalty of arresto mayor 1 month and 1 day to 6 months or a fine not exceeding 40,000 pesos. Kinang mga mutuo og mga magpatag na sa ilahang kinabuhi silang future ug unsay mahitabo nga naasad na siya fine kay mura mo gana siya some of it kanang naiuban nga murag kay ka legit pero na si uban nga murag atik ra na ba. So we have here sample cases of estafa in the Philippines. So I put only one pero daghan pa today siya. A former owner of a new defunct Laguna Rural Bank has been convicted for estafa due to falsification of public documents and was sentenced to imprisonment and subject to fine. So ang iyahang na-commit diri is falsification of documents. So another one here in Cebu last 2019 investment scam pud to siya. Originally dito daw to siya sa Davao pero where nasakpan man nga mga scam lahi tong name na company sa Davao laha and then where nasakpan man nga scammer sila so nibalhin sila og Cebu. So sa Cebu is naadjoy na OFW nga ni-invest siya 1 million jud daw and then after ato kay lagi mo increased man o 100% kuno ang tubo in just 45 days so nigo siya. So mo to daghan man sila ato then via online kay trading nung to iyahang kuan giingan sa company na nakatuo sila so na sila sa GC na paghapit na ang payout mo to per nahimong sila na gi-block na sila and dili na sila ka-contact atong operator ato na trading. So ang gibuhat sa kapulisan sa Cebu is nagbuhat sila entrapment operation kunuhay nga kanang mo dawat pa sila og kuan kanang sila kanang depositohan ba, so gibuhat nila mas pagkita kay lagi kuno mag-deposit, pero if time na to invest kay wala sila, hanaw sila, so na entrapment operation nga nahitabo ato dinidakpan sa Cebu, so nadakpan jud sila for the investment scam. Let us proceed with arson. Arson is a crime commonly defined by statute as the willful or malicious damage or destruction of property by means of fire or explosion. Arson referred to the burning of another person's dwellings under circumstances that endangered human life. Now, this term also referred to the intentional burning of other things, which can lead to a more serious crime that can be classified as felony. So, felony is traditionally considered as a crime of high seriousness. So, if ever this crime involves greater risk to human life or property, there should be a stricter penalty for this one. Now, a person who commits arson is referred to as an arsonist. So, they are normally using accelerants such as gasoline or kerosene to ignite, propel, and directionalize fires. And the detection and identification of ignitable liquid residues is an important part of fire investigations. So, if there is an arsonist, the crime is intentional because kung nag-hire kag arsonist, binayra na nimo. And then accelerant, man sila ang substance or mixture that ignites fire or worse can cause explosion. Next is pyromania, is an impulse control disorder characterized by the pathological setting of fires. Most acts of arson are committed by pyromaniacs. So, pyromania is a disorder called ICD or impulse control disorder. It is a psychiatric disorder. So, if a person commits arson, especially done by the pyromaniacs, no one can control them and no one can stop them, especially if they are now on the situation nga mo sila manunog. No one can really stop them. And we have here the two classification of arson, the simple arson and destructive arson. Before that, in Philippine setting, so the Supreme Court defined arson as the malicious burning of property, may it be in the nature of destructive arson or simple arson. So both of which are punishable crimes under the revised penal code as amended. So in simple arson, it contemplates the malicious burning of private and public structures regardless of their size and not otherwise classified in relation to destructive arson. So, simple arson is intentional damaging of any explosive substance or the setting of the fire to any property of another without the consent of the owner. May it be you're the owner of the land, but you're not the owner of the house, you can still be convicted in simple arson. For example, houses, dwellings, government buildings, and other industrial establishments. The penalty for simple arson shall be imposed in its maximum period if any of the following special aggravating circumstances were present. So first, we have if committed with intent to gain. Tuyo og sunog on purpose for their own benefit or gain. B, if committed for the benefit of another. For example, in insurance, na uban tuyo nilag sunog ang ilang buildings or unsa pa nala kay lagi it is already covered by the insurance, mabayaran mo sa insurance. That's it. Letter C, if the offender is motivated by spite or hatred toward the owner or occupant of the property burned. If na kasuya, kalagot, nga tuyoon og sunog ang butang sa iyahang kontra kay naglagot siya. And letter D, if committed by a syndicate or group of 3 or more persons. Now, it is committed by a syndicate. So, group, no? Mo na siya. Arson na siya. And, moreover, if by reason or an occasion of simple arson, that results, the penalty of reclusion perpetua to death shall be imposed. If nanay madamay nga kinabuhi nga makalas or casualty, reclusion perpetua or like di siya lifetime, mapriso lang siya og 30 to 40 years. Destructive arson contemplates the malicious burning of private and public structures such as hotels, buildings, edifices, trains, vessels, aircraft, factories, and other military or government or commercial establishments by any person or group of persons. So, destructive arson is one of the worst crimes kay mga dagko na jud kayo ni ang ilahang mga sunugon ng mga establishments. So, it is characterized as a heinous crime or serious offense for being grievous, odious, and hateful offense which by reason of its inherent or manifest wickedness, cruelty, viciousness, atrocity, and perversity, and it is repugnant and outrageous to the common standards and norms of decency and morality in a just, civilized, and ordered society. So, grabe siya. Was worse pa siya sa simple arson. And mas daghan siya, dagko ang damage sa destructive arson. Because of its vile, and it is unpleasant to the morality and norms. So, tako jud kay siya, extreme danger ang makuha aning destructive arson. And the punishment for destructive arson is reclusion perpetua to death and exposing this severe penalty. So the following should be considered. First, we have extreme danger to human lives exposed by the malicious burning of these structures. So if may casualties, mo na siya, destructive arson. Danger to property resulting from the fire. So if may mga butang na importanteng butang na hilabtan, for example, valuables, personal property like cars, important documents, for instance, and other things. So, letter C, the fact that it's normally difficult to adopt precautions against its commission. So, maglisod na kanang kilatis, difficult to take preventive measures to avoid its occurrence. Kanang lisod na kayo nga, makaikyas ka na nga, kay grabe na ang fire. And letter D, the suspect is really hard to find, no? Lisod si kay masangil, like suspect niya, diba? So here in letter D, man siya, the difficulty in pinpointing the perpetrators. Okay. Dako na kayang sunog niya, wala ka kahibaw kinsay naghimo ato, kinsa nga ma-arsonist ang nagbuhat ato, kay dili man gud siya nimo matawag nga aksidenta lang or disgrasya lang. There are people behind those criminal offense. Here is the degrees of arson. So we have first degree arson, burning and occupied structures such as a school or a place where people are normally present. That's just in school. Daghang tao nga lugar such as a mall. Mo na tuyuan nila pa-explode or bomb or something sa church. May it be in church. Second degree arson is burning an unoccupied building such as an occupied house or other structure in order to claim insurance or such property. So, okay, nag-anad man ka nga ma-cover up para sa insurance ang if masunog mo intentional na gyud ba kay para ma-cover up daw sa insurance. So, second degree arson na siya. Ang third degree arson is burning an abandoned building or abandoned area such as field kanang walay tao nga grabe ka wide ang lugar, in forest or woods. So, deforestation or kanang mangahoy ka nga sunugo na lang nimong tibuok forest. So that's it for the arson.